Hey, hello guys. This is Kathy with Kincaid Special Creations coming to you with another West Virginia Live. I'm just going to sit here and hang out and talk a little bit while everybody gets to come in. And we'll see if I can't get me up and running on this laptop. You know, it takes a minute or two to get from my phone into the laptop. Hello? I see we have one here. Two here. Hey Patricia, how's everything going? Hey Stevie, hey Chris, you made it. Good job.
Hey Patricia.
I gotta turn my phone down. I don't know why I can't remember to turn that down while I'm setting all this up. So how's everybody doing? Hey Tina. Today we're going to talk just a little bit. I went in, did a little bit of research on Halloween. You know, we've always had Halloween. We went out and got candy when we was kids. I said, why do we celebrate Halloween? What is the, hi Tim, hi Debbie. I was just, just kind of curious as to why. I guess I'm getting older, so the whys are more important than the actual doing. So I thought, well, I'll look up a few things, and there was a few things that I knew and a few things that I didn't know and a few things that were just a little bit on the cute side. So I thought, well, I'll just come on and we'll talk about that and we'll see how everybody's doing and chit chat for a little bit. I want everybody, if they can remember at some point in time, to go ahead and give me a thumbs up so that I know that you're here and that you like the conversation. Then I can, keep on going with it. Thank you. Seems as if they're altering things on Facebook. Hi TJ. And YouTube a little bit on the creator side. So I'm having to make sure that all that stuff is working good for me. But it looks like we've got a few in, so and it's a couple minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Does anybody know what the tradition was that was the background or the thought behind the Halloween? Do you know what tradition that was? It's something that's been said for several times, but the way they say it, it's in such a bad light that you really think Halloween is awful, and it can be. I mean, there was some things that happened on Halloween that brought the new traditions into place, which I'll bring up here in a little bit. But for the beginning of it, it began as a Celtic tradition called, and this is not how it's pronounced, and I've lost the thing of how they said to pronounce it. But I've always called it Samhain, which is not the way they pronounce it. But it just marks the end of summer. It was a little celebration that they did that marked the end of summer and the beginning of winter. Well, if you have any history at all, you will remember that the calendar that we use now starts in January. But hi Brian, hi Jansu, and JK, if you're here and can't text, hello to you too. She's been having an awful time trying to get her computer to text, but she'll call me and say, I'm here. So hello, Janet. But anyway, I done lost my train of thought. But anyway, the days would start in March instead of in January. So by the time it got done up at the end of October or so, it was the end of summer because you still have crops that'll be brought in as late as in October in certain places before the frost comes in. And then winter would set in after that. Now, of course, our summer goes from April, May, and June, which that would have been classified as their first part of the year. But back to the story. The festival that they did coincided kind of sort of with the Catholic calendar, where they celebrated All Saints Day, which was a day that they celebrated all the people that had departed from this world and went to heaven. And so that created the All Saints Eve, which turned into Halloween, which they said the night before, people would hold vigils for the souls that hadn't yet gone to heaven and were trapped in purgatory. It was a night to pray for the dead. So that's how come it's got its harsh look on Halloween, why a lot of people don't like to deal with it. But if you think about it, you should always say a little prayer for the people that have left, as we're acutely noticeable of. So it's just always a good thing, and whether it's November the 1st or whether it's every day that you speak, just say a little prayer that everything is going as it's supposed to, and that everybody that isn't ready to go to heaven can get prepared to go to heaven. So that's how Halloween was born. It was born off of the night before All Saints Day, which used to be called All Saints Eve, and then they just developed it into and gave it it became Halloween. It was celebrated first in Canada, but in the United States it was observed as early as 1870 and became popular in the 1900s, because that's when the stores, where everybody would go to find all the newest and the latest, that's when the stores were bigger, and they would have costumes and candies and decorations that you could buy to put up for Halloween. If you remember the last Facebook Live, we talked about the governor of, or the mayor of Atlanta, I think it was, that his wife decorated with first jack-o'-lanterns. So in the late 1800s. So it was just a progressive from one to the other one. Now I'm not going to tell you that I love Halloween or that I'm against Halloween. I'm telling you, that's everybody's individual prerogative of what they want and what they feel. I'm just telling you some facts I found off of, it's called 5 Chicago. I guess it's an NBC station out there, and they did some historical facts of Halloween. So I'm just paraphrasing what they said. It was done in October of last year. So if you want to read the full article, I may be able to learn how to tag that article or put the link in when I switch it over to YouTube. I do not know. I'm not real good at that yet. I've tried to put the link into our Facebook page about my new videos that went up, but it didn't take for whatever reason. I don't know what I did wrong. Okay, let's see what we got. Hey, Janet made it. You must have got your thing fixed. Good deal. Good deal. In the early days when Halloween was going on, it was a night for the tricks. You know how now we call it trick or treat? It was all tricks. Pranksters would get out and they would trick unsuspecting people by tearing down things, starting fires, tripping people on the sidewalk as they would go through. And it was starting to cost the cities every year millions of dollars to try to fix what all these pranksters had messed up. So the worst year was in 1933. They did so much damage that year that it was deemed as Black Halloween. Now, of course, I wasn't alive in 1933, and the news probably didn't get to our little neck of the community, so Grandma wouldn't have known, so she wouldn't have told us. So that's why the internet is good. But it just goes to show you that mischief happens all the time. You might think that your kids are into everything coming and going, but they're just reliving the life that somebody had before them. Sam's outside, so if you hear him barking, that's what it is. I'll let him in when we're done. And in following in Canada's tradition, we led up to where we was hoping that if we gave out treats, then it would maybe coerce them not to do the meanness. So that's how the trick-or-treat part of Halloween came into play, because everybody was getting so upset with the pranksters on Halloween that they figured they would try, because they're all youngins, or most of them, they'd try to flip the script on them and give them something good on that night. So maybe some of the pranks, not all of them, because even in my day when I went out, you'd go out on Halloween and you almost know before Halloween was over that bus house was going to be on its side. It happened almost every single year. So that's how Trick or Treat got started, is trying to convince the pranksters not to do the pranks. And of course, it didn't get all of them, but it got most of them. So essentially, they were trying to bribe the kids not to do the mischief. Now, did that work? I'd say it did pretty good. I mean, we had a few. Some people would still throw eggs when we was younger, and they would tip over the school bus. But for the most part, what they didn't amount to the $1 million worth of damage that they were talking back in the early time it did. So then we're going to go on to Halloween costumes. And it says that although Halloween is open for all to dress up as someone else, it is not sure when or why this became popular. I would say it was popular back in the 1930s when all these pranksters were going around doing all this mischief. Would you actually want to go out with your regular face in the 30s knowing that if your mother or your father was told that you were the one that did the pranks, you wasn't going to get your rear end kicked? Because that was back when they still did it. So I'd probably want to put on a mask or something to disguise my look too. So it's entirely possible it was already in effect then. Then they just, when they switched it over to Trick or Treat, then they switched it over to selling the costumes that people could put on to wear. Next is carving a pumpkin. I have put up the video of Mandy and Hannah carving that pumpkin, and it is so cute. Hanny did such a good job. If you all get a chance, it's on YouTube and it is up and ready. Just go see it. Give me a like on it. And check to make sure you're still subscribed. I'm up to 409. But I had gotten up to 412. And then I lost 3. So just make sure that you are still subscribed. Because Timmy's checked his. And a couple of times his has been unsubscribed. So, just check to make, when you go into YouTube, make sure that you're still subscribed. Now, on the last Facebook Live, we talked about the guy named Stingy Jack. How he didn't want to pay for his bar tab, so he made a deal with the devil. And in exchange for the hint, because he trapped him in his pocket with a cross, and in turn for him letting the devil out, he had to promise that he wouldn't retaliate and he wouldn't take his soul when he died. Well, he did this like 3 or 4 times. So when he actually died, and he thought he was going to go to heaven, God said, no. You already made a deal for that soul. You're not coming to heaven. Well, he thought, I'll just go down to the devil because, there's nowhere else to go. Devil wouldn't take him either. So according to the legend, he's still out roaming the world trying to decide whether he wants to do good or bad. So I've not seen him. But there are strange things out there. The idea is said, the idea of the jack-o'-lantern, is said to have began with the Irish, where they would take turnips and carve them with the faces on them and light them to ward off evil spirits. It was also used back in the day when the people that was doing what we call night watchmen, but they were doing the walk around at different places to make sure everything was good. they would use a little pumpkin with a light, probably usually just the coals out of a fire with a little bit of stuff in it, and carried those around so that they could see where they was going. It probably wouldn't put off much light, but a little bit of light will have you enough to not be able to trip over something, or if somebody's coming, you'll be able to at least see a shadow or something so that you're not completely off the key while you're doing it. But after they come to America, they found that pumpkins were much easier to carve than turnips. Because when you carve into a pumpkin, like we showed on Mandy's video, when you carve into that pumpkin, it's hollow on the inside with the exception of the seeds. So you can just go for broke. You can just put them in there and do all the things that you need to do and have space enough for you to put. They probably could put a little fire in it if they wanted to. Now they wouldn't last very long because, Mandy, I don't know whether you're on here, but I can tell you this much. Your pumpkin that you carved, I cleaned off and threw into the pumpkins today. It went from this nice big round pumpkin flat as a doornail. I guess I should have had it sitting outside. Maybe the hot air, the hot temperatures in the house may have made that decompose quicker. I would have not thought that it would have done it because I've had pumpkins sitting, like Janet Kay said, sitting outside on the porch for a month. So these were not a good fit for being in the house. No, Janet Kay, I don't want to see him either. That's what I said on Mandy's video. We don't want to, because Hannah was going to name her Pumpkin Jack. And I said, we ain't called him Stingy Jack because I don't want him nowhere around me. This information that I'm going to tell you now also comes from today.com. And it's just some little tidbit facts about Halloween. The cities that have scary names that are befitting of a Halloween night is Scarville City, Iowa, Slaughter Beach, Delaware. These are scary names. Tombstone, Arizona, which we've heard of that one. Bad Axe, A-X-E, Michigan. We go here quite often, or drive past here quite often. Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, Sleepy Hollow, New York, and Munster, Indiana. I've heard of Munster, Indiana. I don't know where it is, but, oh, here it is. Samhain, S-A-M-H-A-I-N, is properly pronounced. I'm not going to get this right, but S-A-H-W-I-N, Shawin. Now, how they got W-I-N out of H-A-I-N, I don't know. But they say that is the proper way to pronounce it. Has anybody, and I'll give you a minute or... Yes, Tim, I give them to the turkeys. I swept it out on a plate, and man, that was all that plate wanted. Took it out there, and Big Dog had himself a free-for-all. Somehow he got his foot hurt. That makes 3 chickens, 2 turkeys and a chicken in that pen that has hurt their foot. But so far, the girl turkey and Tiny, the little chicken Mandy gave me, are both over theirs, but now Big Dog's fighting to get over his. But, yeah, Kilsyth, yeah, you're right, that's a good one. Does anybody else have any in their area that would be good Halloween city names? I just think that, well, I never even thought, like I said when I started this, I never even thought about Halloween other than it's another thing. You can have a party, you take your kids trick-or-treating. It's just a thing that you do. But I thought, well, this would be a good thing to talk because Halloween is on Tuesday and, you know, it would be nice for me to know and for me to transfer when the kids watch this over and over again later on, information about Halloween. Again, what I said is everybody has their own ideas on what they feel about Halloween, and that is perfectly fine. You know, it is a tradition that we have, you do not, absolutely do not have to believe in it or celebrate it or nothing. That's fine. You know, it's more for the kids anyway. And if it was invented to keep kids out of trouble, the actual Halloween, not the festival, the Samhain, but the trick-or-treating part of Halloween, to keep the kids out of trouble, I don't think they were bad intentions when they did it, so I say let them trick-or-treat. Another version, I like Halloween too, sis. It's just, I'm older, the kids aren't here. We've had this place on this hillside for 23 years. They ain't the first trick-or-treater come here. Good thing, because I probably don't have any candy. Got some peppermint drops I can give them. I think next year we might do something for Halloween. Maybe. Anyway, there's something called Belsnickeling, 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 which is a German custom in which the children would dress up in costumes for Christmas and visit their neighbors. Sound familiar? Who would have to guess who they were under their outfit. And if they got it wrong, they'd have to give them some candy. So, I mean, that's Belsnickeling, trick-or-treating, sounds kind of the same, just different holidays. I think that would be cute, though, for you to dress up, especially for Halloween, and everybody go around, and if you got it right, who was in that outfit? I don't know what they'd have to give you, something, but if you got it wrong, you'd have to give them some candy. And it's possible that's the reason we have trick-or-treat. Maybe there was some, maybe earlier in the people coming over, because our German ancestors were here from like in the 1640s, 1650s, somewhere around in there. So, you know, they may have had it here and then it commingled with this, the Belsnickeling and the trick-or-treating and all that stuff may have just all filtered in together. I want to ask you, do you think a pumpkin is a fruit or a vegetable? And why do you think that? Does anybody know how to tell the difference between a fruit and a vegetable in a garden? I didn't know this. I knew that a tomato was called a fruit, which I have my whole life called it a vegetable. Now I know why it's called a fruit. So, hi Pam. Hi Edwina. Evidently my thing ain't showing through as quickly as I'd like. Fruit, where's... Leave it to you, Stevie Mitchell. Leave it to you. Technically, a fruit is something that comes on as a flower. You know, like cucumbers are fruits, pumpkins are fruits, tomatoes are fruits, peppers are fruits. Even though you would think, because they're sold in the vegetable section of your supermarket, you would think they're vegetables. But if they come on with a flower that produces the fruit, produces the product, it is a fruit. If it is something like a potato, a turnip, a radish, beet, stuff like that that's grown in the ground, that the fruit comes off the bottom, an onion, comes off the bottom of the plant, it is a vegetable. I did not know. I've always heard, because, you know, I wondered, why would they call tomato a fruit? But that's because it comes on as a flower first, and then the fruit comes on, and inside the fruit, when you open it up, tomatoes, pumpkins, cucumbers, squash, anything has seeds in them. So that's how they reproduce. So if somebody's ever asking you about something, you can tell them whether it's a fruit or a vegetable, and be confident in knowing that that's what it is. In October the 19th of 2013, Keene, Keene, New Hampshire, took the world's record for the most lit jack-o'-lanterns in their town, with a whopping total of 30,581 jack-o'-lanterns all lit up, all at the same time. Wouldn't that have been cute to see? I'll bet they got bragging rights for a while, because that'd be a lot of pumpkins. I wonder whether they were all different sizes. I might have to look that up and see what kind of pumpkins they had. There's another form of something like trick or treat night. It's called Beggars Night in Iowa, and it's basically the same as Halloween's trick or treat, but the kids, in order to get their treat, have to tell a joke. So when they go up to a house, they can tell the same joke every house they go, but in order to get their treat, they had to tell a joke. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think I would ever get any candy, because I'm not real good at joke telling. I miss the punchline every single time. Half the time I miss the punchline when people else are telling the joke. I still like sitting there looking at it, well, what just happened? And sometimes it's so hilarious I can't stop laughing, and I even embarrass myself. I laugh so loud. Every 19 years, Halloween will fall on a full moon. So if you look up when the last Halloween was with the full moon, 19 years from there, you will have another full moon. So that reminds me of a joke that Timmy's told. Well, I don't know if it's a joke, but anyway, he told me, he said, if you add my age plus the year I was born, you'll get to this year. So it's like, okay. So I added it up, and sure enough, his birth year plus how old he is equals 2023. So I did it with mine, and it come up. And I did it with Mom's, and it come up. And then I got to think, well, duh, Dick Tracy, if you've been on the planet for 65 years and you made it to 2023, of course your birth year plus your age is going to equal whatever year you're in. It doesn't matter. But it took me a minute or two to figure that out. So that was one of those cute little things that if you're just telling in passing, people are going to say, what? But it does work, because I tried it out. And that's how you should learn everything that you know. If you have something that somebody tells you, even me, if you find something that I have told you that's a question, or you want to double check, by all means, Google it. That is what Google is for, and it's wonderful at that. It's getting more selective on what information that they put up first. I personally think that if you're going to be a good information center for the world, then you should put up the most important information about what they're Googling first. But they don't. They'll put up ads for 5 or 6 or 7 different things that make you think. So when you go into these things, you'll find out that is not right. Make sure when you go, I'm going to go into a lesson on computers that I don't know nothing about, but make sure as you're going down through that Google list that you find in that address bar what you searched. Because if you don't, it's hard to tell what them people will tell you that has absolutely nothing to do with what you want to research. I found that out because I'll go in to do something and I'm looking it up. Well, there's all this kind of stuff that's similar. Okay, it looks like it. But in the address bar, it has absolutely nothing to do with what I wanted to look up. So I was like, So now I go down to the address bar and I look in that very first and foremost. And when I click that link and it goes up there, I make sure that address up in that top bar is exactly what I wanted to look for, because there's some people out there that can do some interesting things with the computer that I'll never find out, ever. But what I can do is what I know. And if I do that correctly, I'll be good. Okay. Did you know that Houdini, famous magician, not musician, magician, died on Halloween in 1926, October the 31st, 1926. And he didn't even die, he actually died of an appendix attack. So it didn't have anything to do with anything going wrong with his magic trick or a heart attack. He died of an appendix attack. Because in the 1920s, that would be something that they wouldn't find as quickly as they would today. So, all right, on to some good stuff. The top costume choices for 2023 are as follows. Barbie, of course, a princess, Spider-Man, a witch, a fairy, Wednesday Addams. Now, I could see, not me dressing up like that, but a young girl, I could see that being an outfit they would want to wear. I like that outfit. Just creepy enough to be Halloween-y, but not bad enough that you would feel out of place when you was wearing it. Or you'd fall over something. A dinosaur, a cowboy, a ninja, or a bunny. I thought the bunny was a funny one. I don't know who would dress up like a bunny on Halloween, but go for it. That's what you want. And did you know that candy corn has been around since in the early 1800s? That's a long time for my favorite Halloween candy to be on planet Earth. And it still tastes as good now for me as it did when I was a kid. So whatever the recipe that they put in it, they've kept it and it's good. Candy apples, on the other hand, was done by a experiment by a William W. Knob. He dipped his apple down into some cinnamon syrup. And his customers liked it so well that he just started selling them. Now, I would like to have some caramel apples. Well, I can't have cinnamon, but I never was a big fan of the cinnamon-covered apples. But I love a good caramel-covered apple, because I like caramel. It's just one of the best candies. And I didn't realize that you could take those little tiny pieces of caramel that you get and melt them down and make you some caramel syrup out of it. I'm learning a lot of things now that I've retired and gotten old enough to be able to learn them. When you have to go out and work to where you have to keep somebody occupied in your job to make sure you're doing your job right, you lose track. It's not like COVID. I'm not going to put it in the same batch with COVID because COVID was, in my opinion, dumb. And it took a lot of people's lives. So that I feel so sorry for anybody that suffered a loss during COVID, especially the ones, because my mom was one of them that was down there that you couldn't go and see. You couldn't be there with her while she was so sick. So I have compassion for all that. But it takes something from you, both in the work field when you're out there doing everything, because by the time you get home and do the housework, do the laundry, do everything, the few times that you get to have with your family is little and far between. Now that I've retired, I enjoy learning. I always did, but I am back to where I am learning everything that I can get my eyeballs on to learn before these cataracts mess that up. So just take your time. Time is something that will creep by when you're waiting on a doctor to come see you. It's like it takes forever for that 15 minutes to go by. Or you can snap your fingers and it'll be gone in 15 seconds. So just whatever you want to accomplish in your life, keep your eye on the ball. And once you retire, Stephen, pick you a hobby out. Learn something new. Do something wonderful. I mean, for you, for yourself, not necessarily for somebody that you have to punch a clock in every day. Do something for yourself. That's why I started YouTube. This is something for me. And I'm going to get off my tangent, and I'm going to let you guys go, because you have been listening to me for over 34 minutes. I appreciate it, guys. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you that comes and visits me, the ones that gives me a thumbs up, the ones that get into the conversation, and I'll answer any and all questions that come up in this thing. But I can't, I'm not like, I can't do that and do this at the same time, because I like to be hands-on with you guys and talk to you and enjoy your company, just like you're sitting across the desk with me having a cup of coffee. So I appreciate you. Y'all have a nice night.